Welcome back. Former Vice President Mike Pence is showing strong support for embattled Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. This as he and his wife find themselves at the center of a handful of controversies. Critics have raised questions about gifts and financial transactions that were not disclosed. In a series of tweets, Pence calls Thomas a, quote, man of integrity with inspiring personal stories, saying that our nation is fortunate to have Justice Thomas serving on the highest court of the land. Joining us now, Pence's former chief of staff, Marc. Good to see you. Marc, there's a ... there, right, which is that Justice Thomas is being attacked because of his views on things and the way he has decided cases. Would you go that far now?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's being attacked because the liberal left has never forgiven him for leaving the plantation where they want him to stay. And I think the reality is, if you look at this situation, Leland, you have a complete double standard. From 2004 to 2018, Justice Breyer took more foreign trips than any other justice. A large number of those were funded by the Pritzker family. Do you see any Democrat senator complaining about that or saying we need to go back and have a study of what the ethics rules and disclosures should have been? During Ruth Bader Ginsburg's tenure, her husband, his law firm, practiced in front of the Supreme Court many times. Was that ever disclosed? Was it ever something that came on a financial disclosure for Ruth Bader Ginsburg? No, it was not. And so this is an absolute double standard. And I guess the final irony is that Senate Ethics Committee, I don't think there's a bigger oxymoron in Washington today, but the Senate Ethics Committee, chaired by Senator Whitehouse, is the last member, I think, of Congress still a member of an all-white country club. Who's the one deciding? Clarence Thomas and talking about his ethics? I mean, how many different ironies can we have in this story?
I was going to say the House Ethics Committee sometimes digs below the Senate Ethics Committee, but there you go.
I should say any Congressional Ethics Committee, perhaps.
The Supreme Court always comes under scrutiny with big decisions. We know it came under scrutiny after Brown v. Board of Education. It's coming under scrutiny under this. But can't we learn from these ethical lapses? Because I got to tell you, I want a friend like Harlan Crow who's going to take me on all these yachts. And it wasn't a pre-existing relationship with which a lot of government employees, it has to be a pre-existing relationship. And so there is also a little bit of a learning curve that we've seen that there are different rules for justices, and it should probably be taken into account.
Again, I don't remember the Washington Post doing an expose on Senator Breyer's trips paid for by the Pritzker family.
I want them to do every expose if there's anything there.
There's a double standard, but I think it's fair to say this is a financial disclosure that should have been disclosed to the public. Yeah. I think we can accept that, but this is a financial disclosure issue. That's what it is, and we're making it far more for political gain.
Hogan, is it a political disclosure issue, or is it a disclosure rules issue?
Well, I mean, look, it appears as though they've decided to pass or live under a new set of guidelines at the Supreme Court, which is now going to start at some point in time. And Clarence Thomas said, "I'm happy to live within those guidelines. That's fine. I'm happy to report all those things." But the fact is, I think Marc is absolutely right here, not just because I've worked with him for a while on a lot of topics, but this one specifically. I mean, how ridiculous is it to continue to go after Clarence Thomas? I mean, the left has hated him for a long time for his ideology, for his desire to rule the way he has over the years, to be kind of a traditional person from the standpoint of understanding the law and ruling in that manner. And for them to go after them on this particular topic, it's a further attempt at the left to erode credibility of the court. We saw that with the justices' names that were dropped before Roe v. Wade came down, people protesting outside of their house, which is a clear violation of the law. All their faces were out there to be seen. No one got arrested, even though it's a clear violation. So it's just another attempt to attack a court that is skewed to the right over the last several rulings.
We all know the Supreme Court is going to be an enormous issue in 2024. It was a huge proxy in 2022, Chris. Title 42, which is the pandemic-era policy allowing some easy deportations, expires in a couple of days. We're already seeing enormous surges at the border. There's no way to write this story other than you're going to see pictures of tens of thousands of people coming across every day. How big of a political liability is that for the White House? How much can Republicans exploit it?
Well, this is an enormous threat to Joe Biden's reelection. When you think about the issues that represent where he could lose, how he could lose on immigration, and the thing is, You've seen Biden move rightward on this question throughout his presidency, right? He has kept in place things that the Trump administration had, and he's done these things. You know why? Because they're popular.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.